Hey everybody, it's your girl Tina. Welcome back to the channel. Hope all is well. All right, this is our second walkthrough of Junk Journal July, hosted by my girl Meg Journals here on the YTN over on Instagram. Can somebody tell him thank you? Let's get it. All right, we left off on prompt number 8, which was wallpaper. Today, we hit the road walking through prompt number 9, which is clashing patterns. No rhyme, no reason. The only thing that spoke to me with this prompt was I'm able to test out some techniques that I had been watching that was on my to try list. This was the perfect opportunity. Number one, I took 2 pieces of scrap paper out of my scrap paper bin. I adhered them together with a zigzag stitch off of my sewing machine. So that's the first thing, right? Then the second technique that I tried was I took some thread and I stitched all the way through the paper with some floss. This is not floss. This is, I can't think of the name of the thread. Okay, but I stitched all the way through it. I liked the way it came out, right? So I wanted to try that technique. Also, I went to my fabric scrap bin, pulled out a few little remnant scraps of denim that I had in there, and I put some stitching through the denim. Wanted to try that out to see how that looks. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Then the third thing I've always wanted to try was to apply some paint to the denim. Okay, so that's what I did with these little red blotches. I just took some paint that I had laying around, activated it with some water, and made these little blotches. I wanted to see how it felt, and I wanted to see, how it would look. And I really, really, really like it. So on this one right here, it appears, if you look at it to me, that it was sewed into the paper, but no, it's sewed into the fabric, and then I adhered the fabric down with my Beacons 3-in-1. Here is just one of those wax seals that I did that example sheet with. I just cut it out and I just adhered it there. Then I did some doodling. Now this is a technique that I wanted to try, where you take the paint and you just dot it on and you make these little lines, little random lines. I kind of like it. I would have to work with that one a little bit more. It didn't jump out like make me happy when I put it on the paper like the other techniques did. So basically, to me, clashing patterns was just an opportunity for me to try out some techniques that I had been wanting to try. All right, that's prompt number 9. Prompt 10, you all, was time out. And I had this little set of authentic life cards, 3x4s, right, called Endless. And it's a really really nice set of journaling cards. You get double-sided, right? And so really nice. I have been using these off and on, but I often forget that I have them in my stash. And I remembered when I was going through pulling out things, because I knew I was getting ready to do Junk Journal July. Look at them. They look so cute. So the humble bees is the voice of the garden. Really nice. So I pulled these out, you all. They repeat: beehives, clothing house. Yeah, it's just really nice, vintagey like cards. Okay, so I had those in my stash, and it had one of the journaling cards in there that says, "Summer is when laziness finds respectability." I thought that was so befitting for this prompt, time out. So when I saw the prompt, I immediately thought about these life cards and remembered this card was in there talking about summer. Summertime is when I have my biggest time out during the year. It's not Christmas break, it's not Thanksgiving break, or even spring break. It's my summer break when school is out. Now I'm able to really fast. I could do an absolute fast. I could do partial fast. What is an absolute fast? An absolute fast is when I consume nothing. No water, no food, no medications, no anything. I can do that because now I'm off of work. I don't have any classes to go attend or to teach. I don't have a schedule of nothing else. I can just give myself to fasting, whatever my prayer desire is. I could give unto the Lord by way of fasting because I'm on time out, right? Okay, so I can fast, I can consecrate, I can also do deep dive studies. So during my time out, for me, it's my time to really seek God. Um, in a way that I can't do while I'm at work during those 9 months, if that makes any sense, right? During my time out, I just get up and Tina does what Tina wants to do. If Tina wants to get up and go walking at 5 o'clock in the morning, I could go walk until 5 and 7 and don't have to rush because I have to be at work or have an appointment or anything like this. If I want to get up and go to the pool and have prayer as I'm working out in the pool, I could do that because it's my time out. So summer is my biggest time out. And so what did I do? I tried another technique that I have been wanting to try, you all, which is by May. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Here on the YT, I'll try to put her link in the description box. She does a lot of art journaling. She's an artist. I'm not an artist, but she's an artist, and I love her art journaling. I've been wanting to try this technique where she make these wacky lines, and then she journals inside of the lines, right? And so it came out really nice for my first try out the gate. So that was a technique that I want to try. I'm going to try to perfect this technique because I do like it, right? So you take the lines, you draw the lines first, and then you write inside the lines. Some of the lines is wide, some is thin. As you can see, it's really, really nice. This is good if you want to practice calligraphy, right? Or can I just say your penmanship, if I could use that word. This is nice if you want to do that. So that's what I did with that. I still have some personal journaling that I'll do on this card that will be hitting. This is just a really nice layout. I just went and put a picture there of me. Here's some clocks, right? It's time out. I don't have to hit that snooze button in the summertime, right? I don't have a problem really with waking up because I'm an early riser anyway. But sometimes I do get those days where I just hit that button and I just continue to lay there. I don't have to do that in summertime, right? Because guess what? It's my time out. So that's what this layout and this prompt is all about. And that's what that prompt called out to me, right, about my summertime. All right, prompt number 12 is next. Prompt number 12 was an interesting prompt, and it spoke to me immediately. Died. All right, so I did another technique, you all, that I have been wanting to do for a long time to try out, and that was to take some fresh blueberries and see if I can pull the dye out from the blueberries and dye some paper and some fabric. And I'm going to tell you, oh my goodness, did it work. So what did I do? I took some fresh blueberries, I rinsed them, I put them in the pot, put water on them, and I let them come to a boil. They faintly begin to start to pull the purple hues from them, but it was very faint. So after about 5 minutes, it didn't continue to get intense. I took them and I crushed the blueberries. And once I crushed the blueberries, it released the purple hues from the skin. When I say I got excited, I really, really liked watching that magic in that bowl. All right, so I tested out some fabric. This was an old sheet that is now a part of my fabric scrap bin. I've been using pieces of it for a while. It was white. It was a white sheet set, okay? This is what I got when I dyed it from the blueberries. A nice lilac purple. Oh my goodness. All right, that's number one. Number two, I did the paper. And I have made a couple of projects with this paper already because I love the way the paper turned out. Now, I don't know if you all can really see it on camera, but what I discovered is the first set of papers that I put in there, they came out with a nice hue of lilac. Okay, the first sets that I did. The more and more that I kept immersing paper in that bath, the weaker or lighter the color began to get. Then the next thing that I noticed is once you put it in the oven and you dry it, it darkens up from how it looks when it's wet. Okay, so here's one. You could see it if it was, I don't know on camera if you could see it or not, but in person you could see the purple bluish hues. The lighter the bath got, the more blue you could see. The fresher the bath was, the paper was more purple and lilac. Okay, so it does not give off a fragrance, but it does give off a beautiful color. To me, between the fabric and the paper, I like the way that it colored the all white fabric versus the paper. It gives a really, really rich lilac. Okay, all right, so with this page is basically created with all fabric. So I took the fabric and I let it dry, right? Then after I let it dry, I went in with this stamp by Dark Room Door. This is a background stamp of nothing but various postage stamps. Love, love, love. Backroom Door is an awesome stamp company. Red Rubber Stamps. I love their products, okay? Now, one thing about Red Rubber Stamps is that Red Rubber Stamps is kind of costly. It's kind of costly because I think their stamps run like $30 a stamp. But it's well worth it. Very good impression. So I took this stamp, you all, and I stamped it all through that first layer of fabric. Okay, I stamped it all through that first layer of fabric, and then I went and got a second piece of the fabric and I used my Tim Holtz number stamps and I stamped the numbers across. And with this one, I use my Great Fusion Fun Stampers Journey ink to stamp my numbers and to stamp that background stamp. Absolutely, absolutely love the result of how it turned out. Okay, I also dyed a little piece of cheesecloth because I wanted to see that, and so we have that over here. Now this is the light right here on the edges is how the cheesecloth turned out. what I did right here in this is at the end of me dyeing, I just took this Great Fusion, put some on my little palette, watered it down, and I wiped this through there to get a little darker purple. So I like those hues. Okay, and then again, I use my Tim Holtz sponge stamps to stamp dyed and the number 12. And then over here, I just took a piece of file folder out of my scrap bin and wrote fresh blueberry dyed. Love the way that this layout turned out. Now I have some circles here, and all I did was took two different bottle caps. I took a cap off of my beads right here, this cap, right? And then I took the cap off of my Tim Holtz washi. Took this cap, and this is what I made my circle impressions with. I just stamped that all the way around, and I really like the way it turned out. Now, what did I use? I used some of this ink right here, Dr. Phil Martin's ink. I put a few drops on a stamping block, watered it down, and then I stamped, and you see how the ink just ran. I love that effect. So this right here, this prompt took me a little bit of time to do, but I really love the way that it spoke to me. If you have not tried dyeing fabric or a piece of paper with some fresh blueberries, you should give it a try. Prompt number 15. Here we go, you all. Textures. This prompt spoke to me because guess what? I am a texture person when it comes to my food. If the texture is not right, the flavor could be awesome. I cannot roll. I cannot roll. It's something about textures in my mouth. That texture is not on point. I mean, I might enjoy that first bite, but I'm probably not going to go, past the first bite. I don't care how great it tastes, because the texture is not right in my mouth, and it will irritate me. So I'm a texture person. All right, so when I came up to this prompt, it immediately spoke to me what I was going to use, because at the time I was also going through and reading my Food Network magazine subscription that I get, right? And in that magazine, they were talking about Breyer's ice cream and the different flavors. Now, these are the flavors that I love. I love a Snicker. I absolutely adore a Heath bar, and I do like Reese's. Now, out of the three of these, Heath is my go-to. I love a Heath bar, right? But these three candies inside of ice cream creates the wrong texture for my mouth. Tears my mouth up. I cannot eat more than a spoon or two, because my mouth gonna be cut up. My mouth gonna be sore. It's something about the texture. Even though I love the ice cream, the flavor, excuse me, you all, I cannot deal with the texture. So this is the prompt that spoke to me, dealing with textures of food, right? So once again, I don't know. I'm wondering what other people are going to use for this prompt. So I will be looking at the hashtag here on YouTube and on the Instagram, because I'm very curious about what people are going to use, or what was their thought when it came to this prompt. All right, here we go. Journaling. Once again, you all, I'm trying out that technique from the art journals, right? And so this time I just made my lines straight, and I used black paint, took a paintbrush, a dry paintbrush, no water in the paint, and I just made these black lines straight across. Love the way they came out. And then I did my journaling, and I did some doodling on the black part. Really like this technique. To me, this one came out a little bit better than the other one, with the lines just going crazy. I'll say that. But I do like both of them, right? Really nice technique. This technique takes a minute. This is not a technique that you just gonna drop in, boom, boom, boom. This takes time because it's done in layers. So you have to make the lines, then you have to go in with your journaling, and then after you go in with your journaling, you have to go in with the white pen, right, and do the outline to make your letters pop. Then I had to go in with the layers of doodling on the black. So this was a step-by-step process to do this type of layout. Now let's talk about my ice creams. And if we see on this layout, and what is the other layout? Yeah, on this layout right here, what I did was I fussy cut these out the magazine, and then I ran them through my laminator and made them flip outs. That's how that happened. And I really, really like this effect. So if you have something in a newspaper, a magazine, or something like that that you want to add to your journal, you can do that. Just run it through a laminator and it becomes, you can make it as a flip out. All right. Prompt number 15, you all. I had fun with that one. All right, here we go. Now, talking about the laminator, talking about fussy cutting out of a magazine, and talking about my Food Network magazine that I was exploring while, you know, doing these layouts. Prompt number 11. So as you can see, my prompts are not in order, placed in the journal. I did them in order, but they not placed in order because I had to place them according to whatever it was that I was using. All right. So I did a double layout, and I already had something on the sides for that, so I couldn't put this there. I did a double layout with the dad. I didn't want to cover anything up by putting this there, right? So, and this has its own pull out flap, right? So I had no room to put it there. So now we coming up to, this is prompt number 11, which was fussy cutting. I will place this prompt right here once I do whatever prompt I'm going to do here, right? So this is a standalone page. This is considered a flip out, and it goes together with this page. This will be a flip out, but it would be considered a standalone page with a standalone prompt on it. So I will adhere it here. It will flip out, and then you will see a different prompt here. Does that make sense? Right? What did I do? I fussy cut it out the magazine, and on the back I added my journaling. I ran it through the laminator. I adhered my prompt number and the title of the prompt outside of the laminating. Very, very, very nice. I like the way it turned out. This is what I use, you all. My Tim Holtz ideology label letters. Okay, you will see that throughout the journal. Now, what is this prompt? Fussy cutting is nothing but taking time to do a detailed cut, meaning cutting close to something, right? And so it's different from cutting out something, because fussy cutting means that you're going to be precise, you're going to be close to the edges, and it's a real stress less, to me, process. I love fussy cutting. I could sit and de-stress just by fussy cutting. Calms me down, makes my mind just relax, and I enjoy fussy cutting. A lot of people don't, but I do. All right. So for those of you who are new, I say you need to get you a pair of cutter bees in your stash. If you want to fussy cut, now some people fussy cut with any type of scissors. I can fussy cut with any type of scissors, but the best scissors to use for fussy cutting, which is that detail cutting, which gets you really, really close to the image itself, is a cutter bee scissors. Does that make sense? By EK Success, right? I have currently 6 pairs of these. That's how much I love. This is my go-to right here. All right, so when Fussy Cutting came up, I knew exactly what I was going to use. This out of that Food Network magazine. What is it? You take fresh fruit, you drop it inside of your ice cube tray, you fill it up with water, or you could fill it up with juice. I have done that too, and you let it freeze. But water is the best for beauty, for just the look of the eye, to make your glass of whatever you drinking really, really looks like it's bougie, right? Take those ice cubes, drop it in your water, drop it in your lemonade, like fresh lemonade, and drop a frozen strawberry ice cube inside of that. It is so pretty to just look at. And so I knew that this is what I wanted to use for my Fussy Cutting, because y'all know that rock with me. Tina is a foodie. All right, you all. Prompt number 14. Nature. Now, what came to mind once again in that Food Network magazine? This was an advertisement about pistachio nuts. I love pistachio nuts. This prompt spoke to me about pistachio nuts. And when I think about any type of nut, I think about my granddaddy who raised me, because daddy always had some sort of nut laying around him. Wherever he was, you knew he had some nuts somewhere close by. And so he would teach us about different type of nuts. He taught us how to cook them, how to pick them, how to store them, how to crack them open. Some nuts, he said, you have to crack a certain way other than other nuts to get the nut out. So all of those type of things comes to mind when I think about nature. Daddy stayed outdoors. He was a mechanic. He had his own mechanic shop, and daddy was a hunter. He was a man born in the South, and it never left him. All right, so daddy had hunting dogs, daddy had yard dogs, daddy had house dogs, right? Daddy was a part of nature. So I thought about him. I thought about these pistachios when I ran across this for this prompt. One thing is funny about my story and my granddaddy and his nuts is that I didn't get introduced to pistachios until I got grown. I could laugh about it now. A friend introduced me to pistachio nuts, and I came running to daddy about the nuts, and he just laughed and shook his head, right, and touched his mind, because if you all remember, those that rock with me, I was raised by my grandfather, and my grandfather was a deaf mute. So he spoke very few words, but he knew how to communicate, right? And so daddy reached in his pocket and pulled out his money, which meant what he was saying was, those are some expensive nuts. I love daddy, and I think about him all the time, right? And so, yes, daddy loved nuts. He was a jewel, right? He was just really a jewel. And so that's what spoke to me about this prompt. Now, these nuts are born and birthed in the wild, right? In nature. I mean, when we go down to Mississippi, we go to the pecan groves. Oh my goodness, yeah. Daddy and nuts will forever be in my heart, and that's what this prompt talked about, all right? So I did my journaling on the back. Once again, this is a standalone page. I ran it through the laminator, and I love it. All right, let's go to prompt number 16. Prompt number 16 was one-sided, and this is what spoke to me. I pulled out my Jane Davenport face stamp, you all. And so I took her, I stamped her on the page. Now, this is one of those first generation papers that went through that blueberry bath. And if you could look in the background, you see that lilac. If you look on the edges, you can see the hues of the blue. And as it's turning to purple on the edges of this paper. This was a first generational sheet that went through that bath. Really rich in lilac, okay? So I took Jane's face stamp, because Tina does not know how to draw. I stamped her on this paper, and then what I did was, because I wanted the base of the face, I laid this down, and then I just traced around the side of the stamp to get the face, right? All right, then I went in, because I've had this in my stash about 5 years, you all, watching all of the artists that really knows how to draw. And this is a set that they recommended, right? Okay, so I went in with this, and this is a charcoal pencil. I went in with this charcoal pencil, and then I just thickened up the lines of the face to really make it more vivid. Okay, that's what I did. All right, so this prompt was one-sided. This is the stamp that spoke to me to use for this prompt. Now, sometimes we could see things one way, but they're actually not that way. But in our mind, that's how we see it. We have to watch what runs through our mind, because when the enemy comes in to defeat us, right, or to perform his job, and we know by the word of God that the enemy's job is to steal, kill, and to destroy. How does he do that? He attacks us through our mind, right? And so I'm reminded of the scripture that God promised that he that keeps his mind stayed on him, he will keep them in perfect peace. So I try to keep my mind focused on God, because I know that the enemy is standing, he's waiting, and he wants to attack me, right? Because that is his job description. That's what he does 24/7. He's seeking whom he could devour. He's seeking whom he can enter so that he can operate and destroy. Okay, so I keep my mind on God, and God promised if I do that, that he will keep me in perfect peace. And so this is what came to my mind instantly when I read this prompt number 16, one-sided. And so when I start seeing things one-sided, then I know, Tina, you got to check yourself, because the enemy will come in and trick you up and have you thinking you right, have you thinking that you on the right path, and all along he didn't carry you off. And now he really finna do a work and start operating in you, if that makes sense. All right. So that's what this prompt is about. He will carry you, according to Isaiah. And I believe that. All right. So that's my one-sided prompt. That's prompt number 16. You all can see that these are not in order. The last prompt that I'm going to share on this walkthrough, as you can see, I'm past the days where we should be. I'm already 2 days up, which is okay, because sometimes that happens. These prompts spoke to me so easily that I was able to just pull what I needed and I put it together. All right, my last one I want to share is prompt number 17, which is the go-to palette. Once again, I've been perusing through my Food Network magazine. In the dark, oh my goodness, dark chocolate, you all. Do y'all see this? This is dark chocolate ice cream on top of a dark chocolate brownie, and you got the walnuts and some chocolate. Oh, yeah, it's just heavenly, right? And so I said that's what I'm using for my palette, because this is my go-to palette. I love this combination right here, and I love dark chocolate. So I discovered dark chocolate a few years ago, you all, and at this point I do not really buy milk chocolate anymore. And what I like about what's going on is that a lot of the candy companies now are coming up with a version of dark chocolate. I just had a new version of Twix, right? Twix dark chocolate with sea salt. And when I say, oh, heavenly, you all, that thing took me over. Oh my goodness. It was so good. If you see it in the store and you like chocolate, pick it up and give it a try. But can you please let me know how you think about it? Just send me a DM over on Instagram, send me an email, or come back to this video and leave a comment and tell me if you tried it. It was so good. So a lot of the companies now are making their version of whatever the candy is in dark chocolate. I know Turtles, Demont Turtles, they came out during the holiday with a dark chocolate turtle. Oh, it was heavenly. I still got some in my freezer because it was a limited edition, right? Kit Kat came out with a dark chocolate. Oh, it was good. So dark chocolate is my go-to now, right? And if you put some nuts with it, I'm really, really in heaven. So this is my go-to palette. If I want a treat, I'm going to find me some dark chocolate. In the dark is prompt number 17. Once again, I went in, fussy cut these out of the magazine, ran them through my laminator. There's my journaling. Now, let me tell you about this background. This is a paper that was coffee dyed. I went in because I got these Prima and Bo Bunny background stamps, you all. And I know everybody use their new stamps, but sometimes my oldies is my best. And so I went in with these two background stamps to make my background on this paper. Coffee dyed paper, right? And I took this background stamp. This is a Prima background stamp right here. And I went in with the coffee archival ink. And look at that background. I love it. All right. Then on top of there, I went in. This is a Bo Bunny coffee ring background stamp. I went in with the rich cocoa memento. And that's what I got, the splatters. I love the splatters. Now, here goes some more hidden journaling. Another way that you can hide your journaling is with your photos that you're going to put on the page. All right. But I went in all over and used those techniques, those background. And I love the way that this background paper turned out. All right. So this is prompt number 17, your go-to palette. This is another prompt, you all, that I'm excited to see. I'm interested, I should say, to see what people thought about that prompt, what came to their mind, and what they created for that prompt, the go-to palette. Because I'm wondering if people going to use different colors. I don't know. I'm just wondering. This one is another one that I'm going to be looking up on day 17 to see what people created. All right, you all, this is my second walkthrough. I know we spent a little bit more time than we usually do, but I hope that you all enjoyed it. Come check me out on the next go round. Remember, we're doing all 31 days. Till next time, you all stay blessed, keep creating, and leave me some comments below and let me know what you think. All right, till next time, have a good one.